Hello again, this is Teacher Ryan for the Salvation Army. I wanted to talk about today dynamics on the violin and how you can do them a bit more easily. What you want to start with is thinking about how your bow is moving across the strings and how it's being pressed. It's kind of like the voice for the violin, or the lungs rather. When you breathe really hard, it makes a louder sound than if you were to barely breathe at all, which is how we whisper, right? So similarly, think of it like either pressing a lot or pressing very little to achieve a much softer sound. So if I wanted to play very loud, notice I'm pressing a lot. You can see how the wood of my bow is going down as I press. It makes a very loud sound. And the other thing besides pressing that you need to focus on, because I mentioned how it's moving, you need to move it quickly if you want to play very, very loud. We're talking about like maximum volume here. And see how quickly it went from this point in the bow to this point. That's because I'm just straight up moving my arm faster. It takes pretty good control to do this, so make sure that you're not just letting it go just wherever as you go. So make sure that your wrist is controlling the straightness of the bow as you move. So, two things, pressure and speed. If you're pressing a lot and your speed is fast, you're going to make a loud sound. And then the opposite is also true. If we want to make a softer sound, it's going to be needing a softer pressure. So still on the string, see? But much, much lighter. You can see almost no stick being pressed at all, or pressed down rather. And then, of course, a very slow bow. So some quick tips for doing this. When you're going soft, you don't want to be too slow on the bow or too light, because it's going to end up sounding kind of ghosty and like staticky. And it won't really sound like a note at all sometimes. So make sure you're actually hearing a clear note when you're doing this. If you don't hear one, move a little bit faster or press a little bit more. Just a little bit. Takes good control, just like I said before. For loud, the opposite is also true. You don't want to hear a scratch, and you don't want to hear a fluctuation in the sound. So, you hear how the sound is going, like that? That means that we're not having the same amount of pressure, or we're just pressing way too much. So, if you hear that, maybe lay off a bit of the pressure and don't go so rash and quickly as you're playing. And by the way, dynamics, they have Italian words to go along with them. Dynamics means, it's not an Italian word. Dynamics just means volume, or how loud or soft you're playing. And within dynamics, there are some Italian words. Forte means loud. Mezzo forte means kind of where we normally would be playing. So mezzo forte is medium loud, or just kind of intermediate, I guess. And then piano is soft. There are some other ones like mezzo piano, which is kind of soft, but not so soft, so it's closer to being loud. And then there's fortissimo, which is two Fs, being very, very, very loud. Something like that. Then pianissimo is the extremely soft, that kind of thing. There's lots of in-betweens. There's crescendos to become louder, where you start off with soft bow pressure and slow movement, and then you eventually start to get louder by pressing more and moving the bow more. And the opposite is also true for decrescendos. So a decrescendo is when you get much softer as you play. There's more detailed things as you go, but those are some of the basics of how to play louds, softs, and in-betweens on the violin effectively and nice and clear. All right, thanks for watching. Bye.